We are back for another all 32 NFL team mock draft. That's right, version 10.0, and I got Mo's Nose in the building. We are going to go back and forth, see-saw on these picks. I can't wait to get into it. Smash that like button. Let's go. What's going on, everybody out there? Shout out to everybody, man. Truly appreciate you for tuning in to another show. I've been loving these all 32 team mock drafts, Mose, because it gives me an opportunity to play 32 different minds and get trashed in the comment section. I think that's my favorite part. Like, because listen, fan bases tune in. I ain't even talking about the faithful. I'm talking about Patriots Nation, Skull Gang. Like, they all in here, and they let me know. You know what I mean? So just beware. It's going to be some comments that, you know.
Listen, if there's one thing I learned from doing content like this, it's you have 32 opportunities to piss somebody off, and the probability that one of those 32 is very, very high.
Very, so very. Very, very. But Mose, I'm glad you could be here, man. And it's cool because now I get to bounce my mind off of another great mind, another beautiful mind. You know, been doing this for the past, this is my 10th. And so we got about 4 or 5 more to go before the actual NFL draft. And, you know, I don't want to waste any time. Everybody smash that like button. You already know. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. All right. And, you know, feel free. If you want to become a member, support the channel. Let's get to it. We do rock with the PFF simulator. So I'll go ahead and blow this up a little bit. And again, I already said that we are going to go back and forth. Mose being the guest here on the WayneBreezie show. Mose is going to get the opportunity to go first. So he'll get the odd numbers. I'll get the even numbers. We can trade, but let's keep it as realistic as possible. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's keep it as realistic as possible. And even if we do trade, we'll try to value the point system of the NFL when it comes to trading. All right. So Mose, you are on the clock. You know, and you get to get the first pick, man. What are the Tennessee Titans doing here?
This one, I think, is a really, I mean, it's a tough one, but it's not. I think you look at the top needs: quarterback, wide receiver, edge rusher. I think there are only 3 options at this pick if they stay at this pick. I know we want to keep things realistic. Do I think someone is going to trade up for one? It's possible, but I don't think there's a bona fide number one clean-cut star that you're going to trade up and, you know, mortgage your future for to go up and get at number one. So I do think Tennessee stays there. For me, it's between 3 players. The quarterback, Cam Ward, the athlete, I don't want to label him a wide receiver or a corner, in Travis Hunter, and then the edge rusher in Abdul Carter. And so I don't think Tennessee could go wrong with either one of these players. I think you add a dominant pass rusher to your team in Abdul Carter. I think you add a do-it-all weapon that is just a prime football player in Travis Hunter. And then I think you add competition to the QB room in Cam Ward. Rumors are that, you know, the team wants to move forward with Will Levis and see what he can do. But if you have an opportunity to get your quarterback here, if Will Levis does not pan out and if he does not, you know, improve or develop from his past performances, then you continue to put yourself behind the 8 ball. So at number 1, if they stay here, I'm going Cam Ward, quarterback from Miami.
All right. The pick is in. Cam Ward is the quarterback. And listen, this is like the smart choice, right? Or the safe choice, I guess, if that's how you want to look at it. I forgot who they signed as a quarterback. I don't think they brought in anybody. So
Brandon Allen as a
backup, 1-year deal, Brandon Allen from the 49ers. So it sounds like they're going to be all in on Will Levis this year, but if they decided to go Cam Ward, take the best quarterback off the board, because, you know, that would be the wise move, right? Like, that's the future, right? I don't know if Will Levis is going to be the future of the Titans, and they have several picks, so they can look to adjust some of these other positions later on in the draft. And I'm all for these teams that are drafting quarterbacks, right? Like, get these quarterbacks, man. I don't care if you trade up, because now players are going to fall. And that's kind of like what I want. Like, I want better players, top players to fall. But since I'm on the clock and the Cleveland Browns are on the clock, for me, it seems like they should go quarterback here. I know they did the trade. They got Kenny Pickett, and I think they're planning on hopefully having Deshaun Watson back. So I can kind of see them not necessarily making this pick. But this makes it interesting, right? Because they're a weird team. I feel like the Cleveland Browns Moes are a bunch of liars, right? Well, at least not the organization, but just the way that it just seems weird. Like Myles Garrett wants to be traded. He doesn't get traded. The team never said they were going to trade him, but it's just a weird vibe going on in Cleveland. And so they don't seem like they're going to go a quarterback, but this is where it gets tricky, right? Because I talked about not trading. Should we move up? Should the Giants look to move up to get their quarterback and Shedeur Sanders? Because what if Cleveland takes Shedeur Sanders? Even though Shedeur Sanders done claimed he better not go to Cleveland, and his father said he better not go to Cleveland, and all that type of stuff. But this is the game that we play, right? Like, what should the Giants look to trade up? And you're the Giants pick. Would you trade up?
I'm the Giants GM. How many picks do I have?
So let's go look at the Giants. I don't know if we can tell the picks here. That's a good question.
Go to like trade.
I'll go to trade, and then let's go look at your Giants.
Yeah.
And they show your next pick, but I can scroll
They
down.
don't show all of them.
They don't show all of them right away. So you got pick 3, and we're only in this round. I'm sorry, that's probably why they're not showing.
That's why. Okay, yeah, don't worry about it. Here's my thing. Going from 3 to 2 to ensure I get the guy that I want historically has not worked.
It has not worked, correct.
Prime example, the Chicago Bears trading up with the 49ers to get Mitchell Trubisky.
Yes.
Doesn't work. Now, granted, it didn't work for us because of who we selected.
Correct.
And we know in that draft, that's the Patrick Mahomes draft. Don't want to harp on that, but that's neither here nor there. But we didn't lose anything because we gained extra picks and we still got the player that we wanted. So it works for the team that is moving back, not much so for the team that's moving forward. As the GM, I'm willing to risk seeing what the Browns do. And then with my draft capital, maybe I look forward to, especially since I have a high second round pick, maybe I look forward to jump 2, 3, 4 spots to get back into the first round and maybe get that next quarterback on the board. So that's a possibility for later in this round.
Love the risk. I think the risk is pretty spot on for you. And like for Cleveland, I'm on the clock. I got a pick for the Cleveland Browns. I don't think they go quarterback here, so I'm not going to pick a quarterback. But it is coming down to, do I get the best player in this draft and Travis Hunter, or do I go after a premier pass rusher and pair him up with freaking Garrett and then have a freaking field day out there defensively and be star-studded on the defensive side of the football field. Now, the thing I like about Travis Hunter is he provides that versatility. Are you going to use him as a receiver? They need a receiver. They can use another corner. To me, it just feels like Travis Hunter goes here because he gives them the best bang for their buck. Regardless of how many snaps he plays on each side, I feel like the Cleveland Browns will be willing to utilize him in the ways that he wants to be used. So the pick is in for me, man. It's Travis Hunter to, this is going to be interesting, to the Cleveland Browns. So I know where you're going here because I got you. So we left him on the board for you.
Yeah.
You already talked about possibly move back into round 1 to nab a quarterback.
Right.
It won't be Shedeur Sanders, I can tell you that. It'll probably get snatched up. So where are you going?
Yeah, I mean, you left them on the board for me, and I know this is a major need. Even if the talk is to go get someone like an Aaron Rodgers or maybe even a Russell Wilson, that's not the future. That doesn't give me 5 years of elite, solid, good quarterback play. I may get a year or 2, and I'm still bringing in a guy for the future. I think if Shedeur wasn't here, I think the Giants are okay. They have their pick between Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter. Abdul Carter is not much of a need for this team because they have Brian Burns, because they have Kayvon Thibodeau. They have some star-studded, bookend edge rushers for that particular team. And as you see here, they would need more defensive interior and cornerback than they would need an edge rusher. Tackle, I could go maybe tackle here to protect the guy that we're getting, but I think this is a deep offensive line class. I think what I know about the NFL is it's a copycat league, right?
For
What we
sure.
saw the Philadelphia Eagles do in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs, teams are going to try to replicate that, right? So that means you need to build in the trenches. And how ironic that the draft following that Super Bowl, the deepest classes are the trenches, the edge rushers, the defensive interior, the offensive line. With that being said, I think I can get one of those guys, especially with a high round pick each round. I can get a solid tackle at the top of the second. I can get a solid defensive tackle at the top of the second. I might need to trade back in for the quarterback. So the quarterback is on the board. No need to overtalk it. Shador Sanders, quarterback out of Colorado, going to the Big
Wow,
Apple.
you did all that talk and I didn't see that. No, seriously. Like I thought leaving him on the board, you were sure gonna pair up Brian Burns with Abdul Carter, okay?
No, we got Kayvon Thibodeau on the other side. I don't
It
need
don't matter.
Abdul
You
Carter.
can this is all about having rotation
I get it.
at the top of the game. They let Ojulari go to the Eagles. No,
I
how
get it.
crazy is that, right?
That was stupid.
Like you said, they got Thibodeau, they got Burns. Carter is still on the board now. I know Patriot fans. You're not gonna get me. I don't care what you need. All right, I don't care what you need. I know who your coach is. His name is Mike
Yes.
Vrabel. And Mike
Yes.
Vrabel, last time I checked, only cares about the defense because defense wins championships. And so, with Abdul Carter being on the board, I don't care if you need a Tet McMillan. You better find another wide receiver. You drafted a couple guys last year like Javon Baker. You better figure out how to make him work. But I tell you right now, Abdul Carter's on the board, and if I don't get one high five from a Patriot fan for me selecting Abdul Carter, you are not coming after me this week. Abdul Carter to the Patriots. God dang. And they already loaded. They've already addressed the defense in free agency. So they're just loading up. You're on the clock, dog.
I'm on the clock. Jacksonville Jaguars. Wide receiver, tight end, defensive interior, safety. I don't think there is a tight end that could go 5. Do I like Tyler Warren? Absolutely. Do I like Colston Loveland? Sure. Are they top 5 guys? No. Safety? Maybe. If somebody is feeling froggy. Wide receiver? Could we go Tet McMillan here? We could go Tet McMillan.
Bro, Tet
And we could
and
go Tet
and
McMillan
Brian
with
Thomas
Brian
Jr.
Thomas Jr. That might be absolutely nuts.
They did lose Christian Kirk. So Christian Kirk is gone.
Yeah.
Um,
And they lost Evan Ingram.
and they lost Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
So Ben Strange right now is their leading tight end.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as their receivers, I'm trying like they're gonna be struggling right now. This. Hey, it's on you. I'm not here to talk you into your pick. Like, but that I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm looking at what this team is doing, the 2 top guys on the board available right now are the 2 places that I would be going.
Mm-hmm.
I'm either going Tet McMillan or I'm going Mason Graham, right?
For sure.
Because I could give Trevor Lawrence a weapon, or I can fortify that defensive interior, which is a little older and a little lackluster. I think we have some solid edge rushers, but we don't have the ability to stop the run. And I think if we want to give Trevor Lawrence and that offense some more opportunities, that is a possibility. But again, I think the depth of this class, while there are some good wide receivers, the depth of this class is in the defensive interior. So I can take a flyer on a wide receiver early.
I see.
And snag a defensive lineman later. So I'm going to go Tet McMillan, 6'4", 210 pounds, just ran a 4.48 at his pro day. Pair him with Brian Thomas Jr. And really give Trevor Lawrence an opportunity to see what he can do with that type of offense.
I think that's a solid pick, man. Great catch radius from that kid. And Trevor Lawrence, Brian Thomas Jr., Ted McMillan. What a wide receiver tandem. You see what Cincinnati's doing. You see what these teams are doing. They even Commanders went and got Debo to pair up with oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank with their wide receiver Terry McLaurin out there. So this is it's coming down to duos, sometimes trios if you can make the money work, which leaves the Raiders on the clock because I really had the Raiders going that route. I thought I don't know one wide receiver that plays for the Raiders, right? And so if Tet was there, to me that was the sure pick. So you took him. But I'm thinking about Pete Carroll. I'm thinking about his defense. I'm kind of thinking like Pete Carroll's a defensive minded guy. He kind of still likes those big physical size type of cornerbacks. So they could go corner here. I don't know if it's too early to go for a guy. Like I like Jahdae Barron, but he's not the big physical cornerback. He's more like the wild card, move around, slot. They already got, like that type of guy. I don't know if reaching for a guy like Will Johnson at 14 might be something. I know he's not testing at the pro day, but he is the typical corner, and the ceiling is Patrick Surtain Jr. So I feel like this might be a Pete Carroll type of guy out there. He's good in press zone. But I don't know if I feel like it might be a little risque to draft him at 6 when he's kind of like ranked to go a little bit lower, especially without the testing and not having that 2024 film, out there where he dominated in college pro football. 2023 is kind of where you got to go. The Raiders pick is a little weird. It's a little weird. Like, where do we go? I feel like they may trade out of this pick, but I have a top 5 player on the board. There's 2 of them left. It's Mason Graham, it's Ashton Jeanty, and they need both of those positions, right? Because I don't think the Raiders, they don't have a solid run game. And if they really want to make their offense tick with their new quarterback and Geno Smith, you got to get him running back. You got to get him a guy that can carry the load. I like Ashton Jeanty here. I don't know what your thoughts on that, but I'm going to go Ashton Jeanty, running back out of Boise State.
Wow. Okay. I think maybe I got to remember who my odds are. I think you might have took something from me later on down the line, but it's okay. Moving on to the New York Jets. I love the pick, though. I love the pick because I think with Pete Carroll, if anything, this allows him to make up for the mistake of not giving the ball to
Marshawn Lynch. You took the words right out of my mouth, bro. Like, and I'm not comparing him to Marshawn Lynch, but as far as that breaking missed forced tackles, that's ridiculous. Like, GT's like number 1, and that's what Marshawn Lynch did. Angry runner. I like it. Wasn't crazy in the pass receiving game. Neither is GT, but I think it'll be a solid pick for them, and it'll allow Geno Smith to make that offense fluid. Like, they got a running game that they can rely on. I can't even tell you who runs the ball. Zamir White, I think, is their leading running back at this point.
Yeah. Need upgrade at that position is much needed.
All right, you on the clock, and I already know where this pick is going. God dang.
So, I think with this pick, quarterback is out.
Yes.
I would say maybe Jackson Dart is probably the third quarterback. I don't think the Jets take a flyer on him here. I actually think they want to see what Justin Fields has, and I think they did a great job by also bringing in Tyrod Taylor to back him up. Just as a veteran who's been around the league a long time, who can kind of teach him a few things. Wide receiver is a need, but I think we can get that a little bit later. Defensive interior is something that I would definitely be looking into. Mason Graham is still on the board here. You got a new head coach who is a defensive-minded head coach in Aaron Glenn. And so I think he wants to build a defense that is stout, that is able to stop the run, get after the quarterback. He's got some great pieces on that side. But I think more importantly, to help him, especially as an early coach with a young quarterback who has the skills, but needs, a few things to go right around him. That's that offensive line. You took Olu Fashanu last year. And I think you go offensive line again. There's been questions about this guy's arm length and his ability to play tackle at the next level. Um, but he says, put on the tape. I can show you I can play tackle. And so I think a transition to the right side may be good for him coming into the league. Give me Will Campbell, tackle out of LSU, put him on that line with New York and protect Justin Fields to allow him to develop and mature to what I think his ceiling can be.
I think that's a pretty daggone solid pick too, because I mean I don't have Campbell. I mean he's in my top 5 tackles. He might just be like my number 1 tackle as far as ready to go. You think about you talked about leadership and all those different types of things. I mean it's just a solid pick for the Jets. And you know if you're investing in Justin Fields and you really want to see what he can do, then protect him. Like get the protection for him. They got the run game on the offense. They got the receivers on the offense. Now just get this kid a little bit of protection. I actually like that pick. I think that's a solid pick. Like you know what I mean? Very solid pick for the New York Football Jets. I thought you were gonna go interior defensive tackle and man that hole up there up front with Quentin Williams and Mason Graham. So you threw me for a loop right there. Like that was pretty solid. With the Panthers on the clock, man, look, edge, DB, corner are their needs. They've addressed several positions in free agency. They didn't go crazy in free agency, but I do feel like this is like, why do I got edge here? Like, why do I feel like they're still looking to replenish the loss of Brian Burns? They haven't really been able to get you that type of production. And I just feel like a guy that fits there, and I've been kind of like mocking him here, is the edge rusher from Tennessee, James Pierce Jr., 247 pounds. This guy, but the production is there. I mean, you want the fastest guy out there on the edge, 447 guy, then you go out there and get this guy. I know they want wide receivers, cool, but with Adam Thielen being back for another year, I think that really helps stretch the offense out and stretch that defense and gives them the vertical threat down the football field to where now you can kind of like work Xavier Leggett, who they drafted last year. There was the undrafted. I think he went undrafted. Can't remember their other wide receiver, but the bigger target wide receiver for them. So they got some guys for their quarterback and Bryce. So I think James Pierce Jr. is the pick here for the Carolina Panthers.
That, my brother, is a solid pick. And now that puts me on the clock here with the Saints. Running back, I think you took the best guy off the board, so that's out of the way for me. Cam Jordan has been pounding the table. He wants Ted McMillan in New Orleans, especially after his pro day, but obviously that's off the table. And then defensive line is a need. It's funny you talked about, how the fan bases kind of get on you. They got on me earlier in this season because I mocked Malachi Starks to them.
Interesting.
Because of a hole that they had at safety, and they addressed it in free agency with the signing of Justin Reed from
Yeah.
the Kansas City Chiefs. So I mean, Saints fans, it was possible
They
if they
needed
didn't go Justin Reed, because I mocked him there before free agency happened, guys.
Yeah.
But I think we need to take a look at this defensive line, and do we
Okay.
want edge rusher or do we want interior? And for me, I'm thinking interior.
Okay.
This team only has Nathan Shepard and Devon Godshaw. One is 30 and the other is 31. So we're a little long in the tooth on that defensive interior.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we can get stronger there. Obviously, Mason Graham is the best on the board right now. Is he particularly a scheme fit? Maybe not, because this is a team that does run a 3-4 base defense, but that also may be changing. But I think he's the best player on the board. He fits a need for
sure.
this team. And so, again, it's not the sexy pick, But I think if Mason Graham falls to 9, I don't see a world where the Saints would pass that up. So I'm going to go Mason Graham here at number 9 to the New Orleans Saints to beef up that interior, that defensive line, and start rebuilding this defense that is a little bit older.
I actually love that pick. And I'm just curious to know, like, so on the 3-4 front, is it going to be Graham, who's the nose, and Cam Jordan? Because if so, that's dangerous. Like,
yeah, I mean, right now they have Kalen Saunders on the outside, so I'm thinking maybe you kick Kalen Saunders on the inside.
how big is he? Pause. Like, what's his weight? That's what I meant.
He's 6'3", 224.
Okay. He could probably play that one technique, right?
And I mean, right now Nathan Shepard on the inside is 6'4", 315. So he's taller, but he's 10 pounds lighter than Kalen Saunders.
This gives them that flexibility, though.
This
So
gives them that flexibility to kind of move things around to where we don't have a static defensive line of this. No, we're flexible. We're able to move it around. And, again, we have a top 10 pick. We'll have a top 10 pick in the second round. Maybe we can do like the Rams did last year and double up and get teammates. And maybe we can come back and get Kenneth Grant at the top of the second. And now we put Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant back together on that defensive line in New Orleans. And now we really cooking. We got 2 young studs who have chemistry, who've played together. And now we're able to rebuild this defensive line and get younger and continue to add that flexibility. So, again, it's not a sexy pick for the Saints, but I think it's a pick that, in 3, 4, 5 years, they're excited about because they have a stout defensive line.
I like that pick. I'm not even gonna stunt. Like, I like the pick a lot. Bears are on the clock. It says they need a running back, defensive lineman. They need safety. Now they just signed Grady Jarrett, so I don't know if defensive line is going to be their main focal point, especially when it's a deep draft and they're looking at getting top tier players at positions. And so that leaves Malachi Starks right here on the board. And when I look at Malachi Starks, I mean, I understand a lot of people are going to be like, well, he didn't test well at the combine. Well, that's why you guys got to watch these shows and find the film footage of the people that are literally analyzing him and break it down. Like, brain-wise, he's the best safety in the draft. Like, I will say that he's the best safety in the draft. The tape doesn't lie. He knows where to be every single time the ball is snapped. He's always in the right spots, doesn't make any mistakes. So mentally, you get the most competent player at the position, right? I feel like that's what the Bears need. They need a leader on the defense that's going to come in there and help make that transition, make that defense just better from the secondary position. So I'm gonna go with Malachi Starks, a person that you mocked to the Saints at the time. But I feel like they've addressed running back. They've got running back Swift. They got Johnson. They just signed Travis Homer. So they got a rotation of backs. They don't need a running back. If Jeanty was here, maybe they go that route. He's gone. Go on Malachi Starks.
Nice. That's a solid pick on the back end of that defense, and I think it covers a lot for them. So I think that's you can't go wrong with that pick.
Sound the alarm. The 49ers are on the clock, and don't turn the hat around. I like that hat. That hat was sexy. The 49ers are on the clock, and you get the pick for the San Francisco 49ers, man. So let me know, man, the Niners, where are you going here, man? Like,
I mean, we have options.
We have needs.
We have options. I see 4 guys.
Okay.
I see 4 guys at all different positions. I see a guy at guard, tackle, offensive line. I see a guy defensive line, not necessarily an interior. And I see a cornerback.
Okay.
But Breezie, we lost somebody.
Yeah.
We lost somebody that was
here we go.
the heartbeat of the team. We lost the enforcer.
Oh, man.
And I think we need to find that replacement.
Okay.
But with the way that this young man played in the school that he played at, we understand the pedigree from which he comes from.
Okay.
And shout out to my Jersey brother and Jersey in the building. If he's on the board, of course you can go Armand Mimbo. Mike Green is here. I love Jade Barron. Give me Jahad Campbell, linebacker out of Alabama, please.
Woo! Now, I drafted him last week, mock drafted him last week for the 49ers pick as well. And I just want, everybody to know that you're getting you're getting a leader off ball, right? You're getting a guy that can play the mic, but weak side to me is where they used him in Alabama, and he was just like the enforcer on the football field. He's an extra edge rusher. That's how I look at Jahad Campbell. Like it's the
Inside,
extra
outside.
inside outside, like
Now
extra
you
edge rusher.
now you know where I was going to go,
Um,
but we don't need it because of what we did in free agency. Even though I still think
I'm just curious,
it'd be a
what the hell did we do?
possibility.
What the hell did we do in free agency that you feel like we didn't need? We don't need.
I was thinking about going Nick Emanwari.
Oh, because I think we still address the safety, bro. I
Yeah,
think
but
we
I don't
still
know if we do it at 11.
not at 11, not at 11. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a trade back in
If listen,
and it happens to be him.
if he slipped past 26,
Mm-hmm.
27,
Mm-hmm.
I can see us trying to make a push for 28 or anything after that to try to jump back in and get him. But I mean, then again, with the way that the first round is probably going to shake out, Xavier Watts might slip to the second
Yeah, and
round.
he's a ball hawk.
Caleb Downs,
Yeah.
I'm very high on him from Ohio State. He might slip to the second round. So, I mean, anything is possible. But with Jahad Campbell on the board, I had to go. I had to go Hattie.
I know people are gonna hate me for this pick for the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know how I ended up with this pick. I picked even numbers, so but with Mike Green being on the board though, like I just don't see Dallas passing up on another premier edge rusher. And losing their edge rusher to free agency,
Yeah,
and now letting it solely be on Micah Parsons. I think they need to get another dominant edge rusher. For some reason, they don't care about guys that can't set the edge, stop the run. They more want to be able to get to the quarterback, and that's just philosophy from the Dallas Cowboys. I just feel like Mike Green would be the perfect fit there. So it's Mike Green to the Cowboys.
that's scary. That's scary to
I
think
know,
about.
I know.
That's scary to think about. Miami Dolphins are on the clock. I see what the needs are. No matter what, I think if you're going to continue to roll with him, you have to protect the quarterback. And looking at the depth chart, there are definitely a lot of needs on that defensive line. But again, this is a deep class for defensive line, defensive interior edge, and offensive line. This is a deep class in the trenches. But what do you put a premium on? Filling out holes or protecting your investment? Can we finally see what Tua Tagovailoa looks like when he's protected and can stay upright? Armand Mimbo, tackle from Mizzou to the Miami Dolphins, please.
Excellent pick. It's just funny because the players that I feel like would be good fits for the 49ers are going to be good fits for teams that are like the 49ers, which is the Miami Dolphins. I think that's a solid pick. No one's going to like this pick because the first tight end is coming off the board. And when I think about what can help out a young Anthony Richardson or whoever's going to play quarterback there, it's going to be not a wide receiver, not a running back. They got Jonathan Taylor. It's going to be a tight end. And so Tyler Warren is the pick. I'm going to speed this up. I ain't even going to explain it. He will be a guy that can help save some of these plays for the Indianapolis Colts offensively.
Okay. I think we have a young quarterback here. And I think we have the pieces that we need for him. We have a tight end, big body tight end who can stretch the field. We have a wide receiver, Drake London, big body wide receiver who can, stretch the field, work on the intermediate game. And we have a running back who is dynamite. I still do think we need another wide receiver. I think we can look to add another wide receiver. I think I would be looking to go edge here, but a lot of the edge that I would go here at 15, they're already off the board. If Mike Green was still here, if James Pierce was still here, that's where I would be going. But
what about Jalen Walker or Michael Williams,
I
the
mean,
Georgia boys?
I think you could go the Georgia boys here. I think I do like both of them. But if I'm thinking about, again, a young quarterback, I want to give him as many weapons as I possibly can. And I think Raheem Morris, as a defensive minded coach, I think he can find more guys to fill in some of those additional roles, because I think their defense in Atlanta played well last year. I think it was the offense that sputtered and that was up and down. And so I want a little bit more speed in this offense.
Okay, so you going Matthew Golden?
Give me Matthew Golden, 15, to the Atlanta
Yeah.
Falcons. You put him in Atlanta on that turf, he is going to fly.
Yeah, another sound player, right? Like a guy that just does things right. Like, you know what I mean? Just runs great routes, knows how to create separation, has the 4.2 speed. He's just a guy, right? And so like that's the perfect complement to the big Drake London, right? Who doesn't have the speed. They kind of can resemble that Tampa Bay style offense with Mike Green running a 4.5 down the field, being a deep threat, and then you using the speed with the underneath and Matthew Golden turning into like a Chris Godwin guy like that. That's pretty solid in Atlanta. I see where you're going. They'll figure out the defense. That leaves me on the clock for our arch nemesis, the Arizona Cardinals. Damn, I had to pick for the Cowboys and the Cardinals, and I get the Seahawks. Let that sink in. Okay, cool, no problem. I got you. So Cardinals are on the clock, and they've addressed several positions as well in free agency. But one position I feel like they're going to upgrade at is the cornerback position. Now, hear me out. Now, they kind of run that same defensive quarters defense. Guy controls one quarter of the field, coverage. So it doesn't necessarily have to be this sticky man type. They play this weird zone. And this is where I feel like, you know, a guy like, it's tough because I think Will Johnson would be the perfect fit for the Arizona Cardinals. He's been a guy that can cover guys like Marvin Harrison Jr. back in 2023, where he won that matchup. And I think that's the film that you're going off of. Love Jahdae Barron, still one of those wild cards. And I think they got the guys that play like Jahdae Barron. They need to go ahead and get the big corner Will Johnson out of Michigan. So that's going to be the pick for me for the Arizona Cardinals.
Great pick.
And we played in.
Yeah, we do. That sucks. All right. Cincinnati Bengals on the clock. Defensive line looks like it could be a need. That's what we have here.
They did lose Sam Hubbard, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he retired. Sam Hubbard retired. They do have, Miles Murphy there. They're trying to re-sign Trey Hendrickson. They have Joseph Osai. So that's an option. Guard is an option, and linebacker is an option. Now, for me, here's a area where I could see a Jalen Walker coming off the board. But this team and this defense really likes Jermaine Pratt and Logan Wilson. Maybe you get him to play the Sam, but Jalen Walker is not really a Sam.
Yeah.
So I don't think that would be the way that they go here. You put money into this offense. You just gave Jamar Chase and T. Higgins 2 massive contracts. And my thing is, Joe Burrow has to stay upright and stay healthy to get those guys the ball so you can maximize your investment. So I'm going to go offensive line. Could they go Kelvin Banks and kick him inside?
They can.
Absolutely. But I think they go with somebody who's a natural guard.
Ooh.
And I'm going to go Tyler Booker.
Oh, the little cuzzo from New Haven. I like that. New Haven, Connecticut in the building. Let's go. Let's go. My hometown representing. Let me go ahead and get my little brother Tyler Booker. Listen, man, you want somebody that's going to be an anchor. Now, listen, he plays tackle. First of all, let me just tell you the story. So he's naturally a tackle.
Mm.
What happened was they had an injury in Alabama, and Saban asked him to kick in the and he used kick in the guard. So that's where he started playing guard, right? And so you're getting a tackle quality guard. All right. On top of that, like the kid can play center. Like he took reps as a center, so he's just a stout offensive lineman. Don't worry about his speed. You don't need any of that. You just need a guy that's going to be able to protect, and that's
Yep.
what he does. He's an anchor. You can't bull rush him. He's that strong. That strong. God dang it, I'm on the clock for Seattle. All right, let me make this quick. Now, they got corners. They need a receiver. I'm sorry. Like, they need somebody, in my opinion, that can kind of, you know, replace DK. And you took Tet. So Tet's gone. Is there any other big body receivers out there that I feel like can do what he did? Not really. I like Luther Burden, but that's another small guy working underneath. Um, they got this guy. They got Njigba. They got Cooper Cup. So they don't go receiver here. They could go edge. Defense is their specialty, and they do like speed off the edge. I feel like this could be a good place for my man Donovan Ezeraku. I think he would fit really well at the position. Or Jalen Walker, too, who can play like an edge at the linebacker spot. So this is where it can kind of get tricky. But for some reason, I feel like the pick, and I'm just looking for Jalen Walker right there. I feel like the pick is going to be, um, I think the pick is going to be Donovan Ezeraku, man. And I hate to do this because I really have an affinity for this kid. I think he's going to be phenomenal at the next level. But man, what he can do, he owns like every pass rushing move in the game of pass rushing, and he's mastered them all. And I've watched every from the club to the dip and rip to the whatever you name them. There's like 5 of them. He got them, and that's tough. Love this kid. Hate that he goes to Seattle. That's the pick for me.
Listen, I'm so glad that you did that because now I get to get my guy. The top 2 needs, edge and linebacker, and you just mentioned the versatility of him being able to play both inside and outside. We ain't gonna overtalk it. Jalen Walker, defensive specialist from Georgia at 19. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey man, I was going that route. I was going that route, and then I was
You
like,
you
nah.
you almost took him from me, but
You were very quiet too, by the
yeah, I
way.
wasn't gonna say nothing. What Pops used to say?
Don't tell
Don't tell
nobody.
nobody.
Oh man, look, Denver Broncos on the clock, running back, wide receiver. I feel like they addressed the offensive line. The interior is fine. They got the linebacker, they got the safety. They're doing their thing. Wide receivers for me, like this is where they need to go. But check this out. I'm not gonna go with the Luther Burden. I'm not gonna go with that guy. I'm not gonna go with the Mecca Ebuka. I'm just not gonna do it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get them a tight end that can play like a wide receiver, and that's Colston Loveland out of Michigan. You want a guy that Bo Nix can depend on as a check down. He gives me TJ Hawkinson vibes. Colston
Mm.
Loveland. Great route runner, great hands, just needs a quarterback that can put the ball in his vicinity and he will have a good time. If you watch Colston Loveland tape, you got to go back and watch him when he had JJ McCarthy. Other than that, you're doing yourself a disservice. Colston Loveland to the Denver Broncos. All right, Bronco country, I want to know what you guys think. Steelers on the clock.
Some Steelers fans might hate me for this, but I don't care. I mean, before it was wide receiver. You needed to bring somebody in and put them next to George Pickens because George Pickens into 2024 was not good at all. He had some character issues, some attitude issues, and I'm sure it was due to the Steelers not winning or him not receiving them. Whatever it was, I think this offseason, you know, Mike Tomlin is going to dig into that piece. But then you add a safety blanket in DK Metcalf, and now you have Metcalf and you have Pickens. You still have Pat Fryermuth. You have a solid offensive line, which I think they will add to in this draft as well. You lose Najee Harris, and so you could go Omarion Hampton here.
I like it.
But
Oh, come on. Don't hit me with the but.
But
They need that piece, man.
They do. But who's going to throw the rock? Right
Mason
now,
Rudolph?
we don't know.
Who's their quarterback?
Right now, it's Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson, and I can't, as a GM,
there's no way
allow my head coach or my offensive staff to go in with just those guys. I can't trust.
Are we going Jackson Dart in the first round? Is that what you're doing?
Jackson Dart in the first round to the black and yellow. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Jackson Dart.
That's a big jump for me. I just don't see him bumping up to the first round unless this is the plan. Like this, and this is why I like doing the mock drafts, right? Because the one position that the Steelers have not addressed was quarterback. Now, if they go get an Aaron Rodgers, if they go get if they bring back Russell Wilson, let's just say that happens. I think Dart moves back out of the first round. Like because I feel like that's.
Here's where I disagree.
Okay, go ahead.
If it's Aaron Rodgers, you don't draft Jackson Dart.
Okay.
Because Aaron Rodgers, one, is not going to help develop him.
Absolutely. He's going to stunt the hell out of growth.
Exactly. It's going to be a chaotic situation. We saw that with Zach Wilson. No. If it's Russell Wilson, because of his character, I think you can bring in a guy like Jackson Dart because I think Russell will treat Jackson Dart the same way he treated Justin Fields last year.
I don't think he really treated Justin Fields the way listen, Justin Fields was the better quarterback.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And Russ know that.
And Russ made it known that he needed to be playing football. And Justin Fields had to take the back seat. Now, the only thing I felt like Justin Fields struggled in almost was just getting the ball down the field. Like he was terrible. He was fucking horrible at that.
Yeah.
Right? But Russ gave him the deep ball element. But you could be right. You know, you could be right, man. Jackson Dart there though, that's a solid jump. Oh my gosh. Wow. I know Jim Harbaugh's pissed at me because I took his tight end. But I feel like they can go Luther Burden here. Now, this is because you got the chain mover. Now give me the route runner. Give me the guy that could create the separation at the next level, which they have no problems. But Herbert needs another solid weapon. It's Luther Burden, man. I'm not going to explain it. I'm just going to obtain it. There it is, man.
I don't know if you heard the same thing that I heard.
I didn't hear anything.
But some people said that if they came out in the same draft, whether it was last year or this year, a lot of people think Luther Burden is better than Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors is a killer.
Yeah. And what happened with Burden this year, I think he had a little injury that nagged him throughout the rest of the season. So that's why last year would have helped him so much more than this year. Then Brady Cook was injured. So then it's like now Luther Burden is a top 10 receiver in this draft. I'll leave it at that. I know he fell, but the Chargers might just got another freaking steal in the draft. Just another one.
Yep.
And another one. That's for me. You on the clock, Green Bay.
Oh, this is easy.
Is it him?
It's him.
Okay.
Because at some point, we got to look to replace Jair Alexander.
Yeah. This is what a comp.
This is it.
What a comp.
What a comp. This is it. That's easy.
What a comp.
That's easy.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's a solid freaking comp right there, yo. Like, just a dog. That Texas secondary for me, dogs, because I love me some Makuba, like, Andrew Makuba, the safety. So they just got some dogs on the secondary. Minnesota Vikings on the clock, and Aaron Jones is there. Did they add another running back with Aaron Jones, or am I tripping?
Yeah.
Who am I? Oh, Jordan Mason.
Yes.
That's done. Running backs are done. I thought I was tripping. All right. So they could go interior, they can go DB. I feel like they brought back Brian Murphy, right?
Yes, they got Byron Murphy back. Yep.
So I think you can go away from the cornerback position here. It's got to be interior. And the question is, who fits the molds. I'm going to go with the big purple people eater type style. I'm going back to the 70s. I'm going to get my man Big Derek Harmon out of Oregon to yeah, you got to understand the method of the madness. If the Vikings are they already got the edge rushers, okay? They add this guy in the middle. Whew, it's Derek Harmon for me. Picks is in.
Beautiful, beautiful, and thank the Lord
Cause you
because
going? Are
now,
you going Kenneth Grant here?
no, I
Oh,
actually am not
okay.
going Kenneth Grant here. Um, I think the two needs are there on the board. Um, I think wide receiver we can
Yeah.
we can work around. We got Nico Collins. We got John Mechie, and I'm a big fan of John Mechie. I think he needs the opportunity. We
Okay.
got Braxton Berrios. We brought in Christian Kirk. Hopefully, we can get Tank Dell back. It may not be until midseason or towards the end of the season.
I like Xavier Hutchinson. I think he can do. He's a bigger version of
Yeah,
what Tank Dell was. He's probably a bigger to for run blocking and
right.
things like that. So they do have some receivers.
And there's still an option for them to bring Stephon Diggs back.
Good point.
Still an option. Um, but I think where we need to go based off of who
Offensive
we
line.
lost and who we traded, we have to protect CJ Stroud.
Laramie
This
Tunsil is
team
gone.
could have had a better year had CJ Stroud been protected better. Now, for me, there's two options, and you have both of them on the screen. Could I go Josh Simmons?
You could.
With outside of the injury, he was getting comps to Christian Darrisaw, Rashawn Slater. Like he's one of them. Then you look at Kelvin Banks Jr., who's listed as a tackle. He played tackle, but he also has some position versatility, and he could kick inside to guard. I think we have a bigger need at tackle, both on the left and the right side. And I think if the medical comes back clean,
Josh Simmons is the pick.
I think Josh Simmons is the pick. And I think at 25, that's a steal because this is a guy who, for all intents and purposes, without the medical, would be a top 10 pick. And so I think at 25, this is very low risk, very high reward. I'm going Josh Simmons to the Houston Texans.
Yeah, I mean, from the faithful, like I got pushback today on a live show, and because it's probably because we were drafting him at 11, but I said if the medicals were clear, like that would be the pick for me
Absolutely.
at 11 because my ceiling for him is Trent Williams. He has the quick burst, the ability to kick out. He's strong, and after the transfer, like you see like. And at Ohio State, he was about to be a problem. Like just
Yes.
the 1 year there. So definitely love what I saw from him his 1 year on film. I forgot where he transferred in from, but definitely love what I started to see in the first 7 games, 6 games or whatever, before he got injured. All right, the Rams are on the clock. I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams continue to just stack the freaking defensive line. It just sounds like something that you said might be a trend since we watched the Philadelphia Eagles do it, even though their needs tight end, offensive line. But I think they go offensive line here. I'm not gonna lie. You left Kelvin Banks there on the board for me to pick, and actually Kelvin Banks was probably over. Like if you wanted the perfect like combination of pass blocking and run blocking, it's Kelvin Banks, right? Like I feel like he just does it very well. I understand he's a little undersized as far as height, but the body's there, the body type is there. I'm going Kelvin Banks Jr. right here, offensive lineman for the Los Angeles Rams.
Okay. Offensive line, edge, and DB are the top needs for the Baltimore Ravens. I think there's many ways that they can go here, but I'm actually looking at that DB spot, and I see that they need corners, but they don't need starting corners.
Okay,
I mean, they could always kick Marlon Humphrey back on the outside. Right now, they have him listed as the nickel,
he's
um,
like a big nickel too.
big nickel, right? But I think maybe you kick him back outside and you bring in a different big nickel. and I think you bring in another physical specimen,
I know who I would like, but who you
and
going with?
you pair him with Kyle Hamilton.
Okay.
I'm going Nick E-Man Warrior here at
Oh god
27.
dang, no way. No. Dang. That's a listen, first of all, he's a top 5 safety for me. Um Tape is there. I think he plays better downhill than he does as far as like the deep safety, but I mean, he can play back, but you got Kyle Hamilton for that. And so now you can
Exactly.
use this kid to fly,
Everywhere.
range.
Him and Roquan Smith,
Oh, they're just flyers that
just
hit.
rangy.
Yeah. That's a solid pick, you mother trucker. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Wow. All right, Detroit Lions are on the clock, man, and where do they go here? I feel like the receiver game, they didn't really lose anybody. They brought everybody back. Even Tim Patrick is back in Detroit. So I feel like they'll be good there. Offensive line, they did lose offensive linemen, so they can kind of go that route. And I'm trying to see who's best available. I like Bell. I do. I know he's listed as a tackle, but at the Senior Bowl, I watched him play guard. And then I watched him play center. And he's just one of those get down on it, dirty blue collar type of where he just feel fit Detroit. Like this is what he do. I think I'm gonna go Gray Zabel here. I'd rather him go there than you know what? He's going to the Detroit Lions. He can play the offensive line. I know he's listed at tackle, so if you need him at tackle, he can play tackle, but he can also play guard and he can play center. And he plays them at a high level. Don't let the school fool you guys. Don't let the school fool you. Senior Bowl, he was the best guy out there, on the offensive line.
I'm on the clock here with the Commanders. Running back, I don't know why they have a need here. They have Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler, Jeremy McNichols. I think that's a solid 1, 2, 3. Maybe you bring somebody in to compete, but who are they competing with? The third string guy. So I don't know. Maybe Austin Eckler because he's
Maybe
getting a
Austin
little bit
Eckler.
older, but
Yeah, that's a good
I
point.
don't think you go there at 29.
I think I just stole the Commanders' pick too.
Yeah, I mean, I think you did. I think they might look to update that offensive line. I think they like Nick Allegretti, but they could look to upgrade there. They have Tyler Biadasz, Sam Cosmi, and then they just brought in Laramie Tunsil. Let me take a look at the edge rushers who are left.
Ooh. We going
Because here's what
edge.
I see when I
Ooh,
look
Michael
at
Williams is there. Shamar Stewart is there. You
here's
talk
what I
about
see when I look
you talk
at their
about
offensive line.
some
I see solid play in the middle. They have Deron Payne. They just signed Javon Kinlaw, Eddie Goldman, Jerzon Newton. Like the squad is decent on the interior.
and
But
Jerzon
then you
coming back
move
off of an injury season, so he's
right,
fresh.
fresh. But then you move to the outside. You have Dorrance Armstrong. You have Dietrich Wise. You got Cleveland Farrell. Like, who do we have that is a threat to get after the quarterback other than maybe Frankie Louvu, who isn't a consistent pass rusher? I need somebody that is going to put their hand in the dirt, get off crazy, and go get the quarterback. And I have two guys right here in front of me that could fit that bill.
I
Um,
this is interesting. Not to cut you off. There's three guys that have similar stats.
yeah,
The production isn't it didn't wow me. But if you're
right.
looking to get the freak of nature, it's got to be Shamar Stewart, right? I mean,
Yeah,
10 RAS score, explosiveness, power, speed. I would
yeah.
prefer that over Michael at this stage, right?
I'm yeah, possibly, but for me,
Yeah.
yes, Shamar Stewart is the freak of nature. But me personally, I think Michael Williams has the higher upside,
Okay.
and he's ready to come in the league and he's only 20 years old. He doesn't turn 21
He's
until
still
June
moldable too.
29th.
Yeah.
So he's still somebody who you can mold into, and he's 6'5", 260. He's a physical specimen as well. So I mean, me personally, I like both guys. But if Michael Williams is still on the board, knowing what his upside and his ceiling is, I'm basing it off of that more than just Shamar Stewart just being an absolute physical specimen. So I'm going Michael Williams.
Love the pick. Well, that leaves for me Buffalo Bills to go out there and get that other physical specimen, right? Like, as I said, they can use a little anger, a little different type of pizzazz. No Von Miller returning. Yeah, they've upgraded some pieces on their defense. They brought in some guys free agent wise, but I think the rotation of adding a Shamar Stewart would definitely give them, a better look out there. So I'm gonna go Shamar Stewart here to the Buffalo Bills. Good thing they're not going to the Eagles. That's the only thing that matters. Not one of those
That's
players went to the
yes,
Eagles.
at 1000%. And now we're looking at offensive line and defensive line for the Kansas City Chiefs. I like Tate Ratledge. If you go
Yeah.
back, I also like Donovan Jackson. They have him a little bit low here. Where do they have him listed?
He's listed as a tackle.
He is listed as a tackle. That's right, on PFF. He's listed as a
That's
tackle.
because he filled in for Josh Simmons at the tackle
Yes,
spot.
when he went down.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for the NFL, he's going to kick inside
Okay.
back to his natural position of guard. And if I'm looking at the Chiefs, do I want the interior or do I want the outside tackle help? Um, Honestly, you know, they signed Jalen Moore to a pretty significant contract, but I think we're fine on the interior. I think we drafted, uh, Kingsley Suamatea
You got to see
in
what
the
he's going to
second
do.
round last year.
Yeah.
We got Creed Humphrey, we got Trey Smith. I think Jawan Taylor is um he's somebody that could be expendable. They also drafted Wanye Morris, but he hasn't been able to crack the starting lineup. And again, if Jalen Moore doesn't pan out, or if he shows that what he was in San Francisco is just what he is naturally, he's just a swing tackle, a fill-in guy, but not somebody who is going to be a starter, then I think you do need to address that because you have arguably the best quarterback in the league, and you want to keep him upright. I'm going to go tackle Josh
Oh,
Connerly
love the pick.
out of
Love the pick.
Oregon to
Love the
Kansas
pick.
City.
I'm not sure why he's ranked 34th. I feel like I have him as a top 30 player.
Yeah, I agree.
Listen, left side, that's where he belongs. Don't put him on the right side. If, like you said, if Jalen Moore happens to not pan out, that would be a solid pick to where he can come in and naturally fit right in at that position, even at a young. And I know a lot of people are going to go to that Senior Bowl rep with Mike Green. Let me just reiterate it. I was there. It was crazy, but when you realize he was lined up on the right side and not the left side where he's dominant, you can understand how Mike got the best of him. He's got to get stronger on the right side if he's going to try to show versatility at the next level. But I'll definitely love that pick. I'm not even going to stunt. That pick was solid. It's not a reach either. You address the need. And offensive line is what they need to do to keep their $85 billion quarterback upright, right? To where he's not always running for his life. So me personally, though, I was going to go defense there and get Chris Jones some help interior wise. So I probably would have went with like a Darius Alexander, a guy where they can line him up inside. He's an inside guy, but can line him up outside. He's got the speed to play on the outside as well at 290 pounds. So like that would have been a solid pick for me. Speaking of edge, I'm on the board for the freaking Philadelphia Eagles to close out this mock draft. And, everything about me says I want to sabotage this pick, but I'm not that type of guy. So, you Eagles can continue to fly in the comment section if you choose. Don't forget to smash that like button. But why do I feel like the Eagles are going to do something different? Like what? Like different. It says they need edge. Says they need corner. They don't really need a corner, right? I mean, I know if they lost Darius Slay, but they already got those replacements there for me, so they don't need a corner. They don't necessarily need an edge. They don't need a wide receiver. They just redid the contract with Lane. The offensive line is pretty stout. They didn't need anything. They brought in Azeez Ojulari. They don't go edge. Why do I feel like they go interior defense here, bro? Like, just to do it, just to keep the rotation fresh, just to continue to stop the run, apply pressure up front. And why do I feel like it's going to be a guy like Walter Nolan? So why, like, so hear me out. Walter Nolan mixed in because they lost. Who did they lose? I know they got Jalen Carter. I know they got those big guys up front. But I feel like that's their formula. They're just going to keep drafting them and keep rotating them and keep the pressure from up the middle. And I just feel like that'll be a solid pick for them, man. So the Eagles get my guy, Walter Nolan.
That's solid. I know you said they don't need a corner. And I hope that that's true because I want to see Keely Ringo from Georgia get his opportunity. But I think you drafted 2 corners last year and it really, really worked out.
It did.
And I think if there's a corner on the board, because we already know that Cooper DeJean's not going to move to the outside. I think his home
is inside,
is at that nickel position, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we know Quinyon Mitchell is locking down whoever the number 1 guy is. But I think, again, pass rush helps the coverage. Coverage helps the pass rush. You had a Darius Slay who teams respected, a Quinyon Mitchell who came in and made his mark, and then Cooper DeJean, when he came back healthy, was locking down everything else. And so you lose a Darius Slay, you trade away CJ Gardner-Johnson, which is crazy, by the way. Like, every stint he had with the Eagles, it was 1 year, and then after that, he was gone. So, like, I feel like he wanted to stay there and just keep winning, but they keep moving on from him after 1 season. But I could definitely see them going corner. Say if Will Johnson somehow falls to 32 because of this medical,
right?
And they get Will Johnson,
that's the pick.
Mitchell, and then
that's the pick. So
because I don't think they go Maxwell Harrison because I don't think they like the smaller corners. He's got the speed, but I don't think they like the smaller corners.
And you're kind of banking on him to kind of reproduce his 2023 season, and
right,
at that size, even though the speed is there, they like the physical guys. But I'm with you, man. If Keely Ringo can take that, I think he's gonna get the opportunity, right? Or they would have addressed it to me in free agency because there were several guys out there they could have went and got. I do feel like in round 2, they might go a route where they get like a Suvon Revel.
Yes.
Okay.
If they can get Suvon Revel or like a Trey Amos.
Yeah. So there are options. First of all, Eagles draft right. I will say that.
They draft well.
They draft well. They do. They do draft well. So don't think that they're not going to address a corner. I didn't feel like there were any corners that I was willing to reach up to take in round 1. But like you said, let that Will Johnson fall. That will be a solid pick.
I'm gonna be so mad at the end of the first round if that happens, bro.
What a great mock draft, guys, man. That was fun. Mo's Nose in the building, man. Make sure you guys show him some love on his channel for sure. Mose, we got to do this again, man. Maybe we'll do this in a couple more weeks and reassess how we did this mock draft and attack it again. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, bro. You know I'm here.
Guys, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Make sure you smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and support the crew. Click on that join button. Until the next time, you know how we do. We stay faithful over here. I don't care what none of y'all motherfuckers say. It's always faithful to the bet. What's up, faithful? Thanks for watching. Hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And make sure you check out some of the other cool videos.